What if the deadliest enemy was invisible, carried by the very air you breathe? This was the nightmare that Europe faced in the mid-14th century. As the dawn of the Black Death descended upon Europe, an unseen terror began to permeate the air. Originating from the far reaches of Asia, this invisible enemy hitched a ride along bustling trade routes, silently infiltrating unsuspecting societies. Intriguingly, this deadly foe was not the plague itself, but rather its unwitting carriers, rats and fleas. These creatures, often seen as mere nuisances, became the harbingers of death. In their fur and bellies they carried the bacterium Yersinia pestis, the agent of the Black Death. As they scurried and hopped from the dank holds of ships to the crowded streets of European cities, they spread the plague with an efficiency that was as devastating as it was unstoppable. As the Black Death swept across the continent, no one was safe from its deadly grasp. In the years between 1347 and 1351, the Black Death ravaged Europe, leaving a trail of death and despair in its wake. At the height of its terror, this merciless plague claimed the lives of nearly one-third of Europe's population. It was a grim reaper that knew no boundaries, no wealth, no status. The symptoms were harrowing, beginning with fever and chills, then escalating to agonizing aches and fatigue. In a matter of days, victims were marked by the telltale sign of the disease: dark, swollen lymph nodes, giving the Black Death its chilling name. The speed at which the plague spread was as swift as it was cruel. Entire families, communities even, were wiped out within days. The societal and cultural impacts were profound. Traditional norms crumbled under the weight of the pestilence, as people were driven by fear and desperation. In the face of such devastation, European society was forever changed. The Black Death was not just a deadly disease, it was a catalyst for change. Indeed, the aftermath of this devastating pandemic was not confined to the immediate loss of life. It set off a chain reaction of significant socio-economic changes that marked a turning point in Europe's history. Let's start with the decline of feudalism. The Black Death wiped out a substantial proportion of the population, leaving a severe labor shortage in its wake. Suddenly, the remaining peasant class found themselves in a position of power. They could demand higher wages, better working conditions, and even the freedom to move to other lands. This shift in power dynamics began the slow unraveling of the feudal system, making way for the rise of a new social class. Enter the middle class. With the newfound bargaining power, many peasants managed to amass wealth and break away from their feudal obligations. They became merchants, craftsmen, and traders, the precursors to what we now know as the middle class. The Black Death also sparked a shift in religious beliefs. The sheer scale of death, suffering, and chaos led many to question the Church's authority. The clergy's inability to provide answers or solace during this time of crisis led to a loss of faith in religious institutions and paved the way for the Protestant Reformation. The Black Death, while a devastating event, had long-lasting effects that shaped the course of European history. The Black Death, a grim reminder of our fragility, continues to echo through the ages. Yet the tragedy of the plague also served as a catalyst for change and progress, particularly in the realms of science and medicine. The devastation wrought by the Black Death revealed the shortcomings of medieval medical practices, prompting a surge of scientific inquiry and innovation. The urgency of finding a cure led to the development of more scientific methods in medicine, with a greater emphasis on observation and experimentation. This shift in approach marked the beginning of the end for the era of superstition-based medicine, paving the way for the age of empirical science. Additionally, the pandemic underscored the importance of public health and disease prevention. In the aftermath of the Black Death, societies began to implement sanitary measures such as quarantine and isolation. The establishment of public health boards and the construction of hospitals became more widespread as societies recognized the need to be better prepared for future outbreaks. The Black Death also provoked profound social change. The massive loss of life disrupted the feudal system, leading to significant shifts in social structure and economic practices. This period of upheaval and transformation laid the groundwork for the emergence of the modern world. Though the Black Death was a dark chapter in European history, it also brought about progress and transformation.